While covering retail math for sales management, we are going to explain the following metrics: average transaction value, units per transaction, also known as items per customer, conversion, the sales equation, sales per square foot, and like-for-like growth. In order to be able to calculate these metrics, we need the following data from the business: sales, traffic, which is the number of customers who entered the store, number of invoices or number of orders, quantity sold or number of units sold. And to calculate the sales per square foot, we're going to need to know the area of the store in square feet. So let's start with ATV, which is average transaction value. It's sometimes referred to as average order value or AOV. This metric calculates how much customers spend per transaction on average. The formula for ATV is ATV equals total sales divided by the number of transactions. For example, let's say you want to calculate ATV for a particular trading day. From your sales report, you are going to get the following data: total sales for this day, and how many transactions have been done during the same day. Then you will apply the formula by dividing the sales amount by the number of transactions, and the result will be the average transaction value. For example, store XYZ had total sales of $3,450 on Monday, 1st of June. The system shows that 100 transactions have been completed on the same day. By applying the formula, ATV equals sales divided by number of transactions. That's 3,450 divided by 100. So ATV equals $34.5. This simply means that customers who entered the store on that day and ended up buying spent $34.5 on average. Why is ATV used as a metric? ATV can be used to evaluate the performance of the sales team at the store. Usually a certain KPI target will be set for ATV based on the type of store, the products sold, the average price of the products, and how many items customers are expected to buy. When this KPI is set for the team, the actual result can be calculated on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis and compared with the target. There is no particular industry benchmark for ATV because stores differ in the type of merchandise they sell and the brand segmentation of the retail business. For example, a luxury retail store could have higher ATV than a value fashion retailer. An electronics retailer selling TVs and computers could have a higher ATV than a convenience store, and so on. Another application for ATV is that it can be used to improve the profits of the business. Retail business usually have fixed costs for the store, such as rent, employees, admin expenses, and so on. If this retail business manages to increase its average transaction value by a small amount, most of this change will go directly into profits. Since customers are already coming into the store and are already converting at a certain percentage, adding more value to the transaction could be easy to achieve through different sales techniques. Third is projecting the return on ad spend. Retail businesses and especially e-commerce businesses spend a lot on bringing customers to the store. In order to make sure this marketing spend is feasible or evaluate the return on a particular marketing campaign, the business needs to know how much each customer costs the business to be acquired. This is called customer acquisition cost. And then compare this cost to how much each customer spends on average. And this is when ATV comes into play, together with conversion rate. Units per transaction measures how many items customers buy on average per transaction. It is also known as items per customer or IPC. The formula for UPT is UPT equals total quantity sold divided by the number of transactions. For example, let's say that we want to calculate UPT for the same trading day, which was Monday, 1st of June. We mentioned before that the number of transactions for that day were 100. Now, when we check the report, we find that a total of 300 pieces have been sold on that day. Applying the formula, UPT equals quantity divided by number of transactions, we get 300 divided by 100, that's 3. So now we know that on average, each customer bought 3 pieces. So what are the applications for UPT or IPC? First, it's a KPI for the store team. And together with ATV, it can be used to evaluate performance against the target and to gauge which sales techniques should be used to lift sales. For example, when the business has low sales, if the ATV is high but IPC is below target, different tactics can be used versus if ATV was low but IPC was high. Another time when UPT becomes a key metric is during sale or markdown events. The main goal for markdown events is to push more merchandise in order to clear it, and the KPI that is used to see if more pieces are actually being sold due to the sale is IPC. If the store on average has a UPT or IPC of 3, but during markdown events this goes up to 5, then the markdown event is actually pushing more merchandise out. If on the other hand UPT was 3 or even dropped to 2, this could mean that either the markdown event is not attractive to the customers, or the markdown is not being highlighted on the floor with marketing materials, or the sales team is not telling the customers about the promotion. So in this case, the team needs to highlight the markdown and inform customers and then measure again to see if IPC starts increasing. Finally, working on improving IPC is one way to improve sales at the store. Since customers are already coming and converting, trying to push more items to the transaction, for example using cash counter add-ons, will directly lead to sales increase. Conversion is a metric that measures the percentage of people who bought from the store out of the total number of people who entered the store. The formula for conversion is number of transactions divided by traffic and then multiplied by 100 to get the percentage. For example, let's say that on the same day, Monday, June 1st, 1,000 people entered the store, and we know from the report that the number of transactions for this day was 100. Applying the formula, conversion equals number of transactions divided by traffic multiplied by 100, we get a conversion of 10%. So now we know that 10% of the customers who visited the store have made a transaction and bought. Just like we mentioned with other metrics, conversion is a KPI that is used to evaluate the store performance. It should be noted here that conversion rate should not be expected to be the same across all stores, even within the same brand. This because conversion rate can differ by the type of mall or property. For example, stores that are located at busy streets and malls usually have a lower conversion because a big part of this traffic is only for browsing. Other stores where customers drive to, specifically to buy an item, usually have higher conversion rates. So while setting the target for conversion for a store, take this into consideration. As we've mentioned before, conversion could be used together with ATV to project the return on ad spend. The business needs to know how many customers are expected to buy out of the ones who visited the store and as a result of the marketing campaign, and on average how much will each customer be spending. Finally, improving conversion is one of the most powerful ways to increase sales, because instead of adding only one item to a transaction such as in UPT or ATV, here you are adding a whole new customer who will probably buy more than one item and is expected to stay with the business and buy more in the future. Now that we have covered conversion and ATV, let's see how they can both affect sales using what is called the sales equation. According to the sales equation, sales equals traffic multiplied by conversion multiplied by ATV. To continue with our example, we said traffic on Monday, June 1st was 1,000 visitors, and we've just calculated conversion to be 10% and ATV to be $34.5. Sales equals traffic times conversion times ATV. That's $3,450. But you might say we already know how much sales are. Yes, the main application of the sales equation is not to calculate sales, but rather to be able to test how tweaking each KPI in the equation can affect sales. For example, we know that our sales are $3,450, but our target is $5,175, and we want to know which metric we should focus on and brief it to the team so we can hit this target. So let's see the different scenarios. We said that our current conversion is 10% and ATV is $34.5. Let's see how much conversion needs to be in order to hit $5,175 if our ATV will stay the same at $34.5. So sales equals traffic multiplied by conversion by ATV. So conversion is going to be sales divided by traffic multiplied by ATV. So if we want to hit the sales target, we need to lift conversion from 10% to 15% while maintaining the same ATV. Now let's rearrange the equation so we can calculate the required ATV if we maintain the same conversion of 10%. Sales equals traffic multiplied by conversion by ATV. So ATV is going to be sales divided by traffic multiplied by conversion. So this same sales target of 5,175 can be achieved if ATV is lifted from 34.5 to 51.7 while maintaining the same conversion at 10%. So now we know that in order to hit our sales goal at the same traffic level, we need to do one of the two things. Either increase conversion from the current 10% to 15%, or increase ATV from 34.5 to 51.75. The store management team now needs to decide on which scenario to choose, based on whether or not this could be achieved. For example, is 15% conversion achievable for that store? And if not, could we increase ATV to 51.75? Then the new KPI targets for the chosen scenario will be shared with the team and measured by the next period. Sales per square foot is a metric that calculates average sales per unit area, which is square foot. The formula for sales per square foot is sales divided by area in square feet. For example, if the store had a total sales of $914,400 in 2021 and its total area is 1,200 square feet, then SPSF equals $762. Sales per square foot could be used to assess if the rent of the store is realistic for the sales it can generate. Using sales per square foot and comparing it to the rent rate per square foot and whether it falls within the acceptable ratio of rent to sales is one way to negotiate rent with the landlord. Sales per square foot can also be used to assess if the store is merchandised correctly or if the available area can be optimized more to get more sales per unit area. LFL growth stands for like-for-like sales growth and is also referred to as same-store sales or comp sales. This metric measures the growth of a retail business on a like-for-like basis. That is, by comparing only the stores that have been operational this year and last year and exclude any stores that are new and didn't operate last year and stores that have been closed. The formula for LFL growth is LFL equals this year minus last year divided by last year and then multiplied by 100 to get the percentage. Let's see this example of store sales for a business that had 4 stores last year and this year it has 5 stores. While measuring growth on a store-by-store basis, the same formula will apply because this is the formula for growth. So growth equals this year's sale minus last year's sales divided by last year and then times 100. For example, for store 1, sales last year have been $236,000, $485, and this year it was $257,463. So growth for this store is going to be 8.9%. If we are to calculate LFL growth for the total business, we will use the same method, but take the total sales for stores 1, 2, 3, and 4 only, and leave store 5 out of the calculation. So for the total sales last year, this would be 1,442,921, and this year would be 1,475,262. So we apply the formula for LFL growth, and then we get an LFL growth of 2.24%. Why do we calculate LFL growth and not just growth? LFL growth is measured to show the real growth of the business on a like-for-like basis. When new stores open, the top line usually grows. However, this organic growth could be masking degrowth at some locations, and this degrowth could actually be due to the opening of the new locations. So that's why growth is measured both on organic level as well as on a like-for-like basis.